Hi everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady, and today I am preparing for the coldest temperatures that we have experienced in all of 2025. Yep, tomorrow night the forecast is to go to 16, and then Monday night down to 15. And even though the greenhouse is warm and cozy right now because the sun is shining, which we have not had very much of lately, the greenhouse will easily get below 20. And I know this from last year. I don't have a proper official heat source and decided against putting one in simply because it's a tall structure. It's 850 square feet. It would cost a fortune to keep it heated, and I'm not overwintering that many things in here. But I do know from experience last year that mid-teens is going to be too cold for some of the plants that I do have stashed. So today I'm taking some time and I'm going to do two things. I'm bringing in my winter interest containers because I think snapdragons and stuff will get really pretty severely damaged from mid-teens. And I'm going to move in some of the succulents, and I'm going to show you specifically which ones. I'm going to bring them inside my house for the next couple of days. Because I did lose a few succulents last year, and I don't want to lose these. I've had a lot of these in my collection for more than a decade, and I'm just emotionally connected to them. I've also, I'm overwintering some, which is silly, but I'm trying to overwinter some late planted tomatoes, and they look really good. And, well, if I'm thinking about this critically, they should come inside the house, but I'm not emotionally connected to these tomatoes. So I'm gonna do an experiment. I'm bringing some of the most tender plants away from the walls, which right now, everything is sort of a window adjacent. That's the coldest area of the greenhouse. So I'm gonna move a bunch of this stuff towards the middle, and I'm gonna drape frost cloth or remay across it and see if I can trap enough heat to keep things warm enough. I don't know that it'll work. It's totally an experiment, but because today is a nice sunny day and I want an excuse to be outside, I've decided that this is not the biggest waste of my time. I'm also gonna water everything really well and then blow out the lines because, this is the sort of weather that makes North Carolina pipes burst. So please remember to detach your hoses. From experience, it's a lot easier to detach your hoses as a preventative measure than to deal with the mess that gets created if you don't. All right, so let me turn this camera around and I'm gonna show you what I think is most tender in my collection and get started from there. Well, obviously Ava Grace is here to supervise. So citrus should be fine. I am gonna water. Mangaves should be fine. What I'd like for not to be fine are mealybugs, because look, I've got more mealybugs showing up. I just think that's going to be a perpetual problem, but we'll see how the bulbini does. I'm not going to bring in anything with pests. And I've got mites and mealybugs on the citrus as well, so that's unfortunate. I see. Oh, that's actually something overwintering. I've got another tomato here covered in mealybugs, so why am I trying to keep it alive? I don't know, to be honest. I've actually got rice still, and another tomato and plectranthus, again, which realistically, mid-teens, these aren't gonna live, but I'm gonna drag them to the middle and see. I think the agapanthus should be okay. I'll drag this jasmine to the middle, because I've had it for a long time. Looks like I've got mites or something on it. Yeah, issues when you bring stuff in are pretty exponential. This sun patience, which I only brought in because it still looks so pretty, that's definitely not going to be hardy, so I might just bring that inside the house. The dicea should be okay. Again, the bulbini. These for sure, none of these pots are hardy, so they're going to come inside. None of the aloes, which are actually blooming right now, those are not hardy, so they're gonna come in. And the succulents that we did in the class last year, just because I like these so much, I'm bringing them in. I don't want these to get wasted. So I have quite a bit. Now I just got to figure out where inside the house they're all gonna go. And I guess I'm probably just gonna load my dining room table up because that's rational. I did start bringing in pots that I had planted just outside here of the greenhouse. And again, I just think the snapdragons are gonna get pretty damaged with mid-teens. Same thing with this dianthus that's in bloom, and these pots as well. It's not that they're not hardy, it's just they're gonna really suffer. And since I have the greenhouse, I might as well take advantage of it. I also went ahead and brought the tower garden in, and I'd like to bring the wall in, but the issue is that the wall is taller than this entry. So I haven't totally figured out what the best approach is. I could just slide all of these off and put them inside, or I could just cut my losses and leave it outside, or I could cover it with remay and see. I gotta think about it. In case you can't tell, I hate winter. I hate winter. And I like growing plants that aren't hardy. It's a kind of a perennial condition for gardeners. And the greenhouse is so awesome. And yeah, I could probably build a greenhouse within the greenhouse and heat a smaller space to successfully overwinter plants in here. But obviously, today's not the day to do that. So I was gonna improvise and see, and I guess we can all learn from this. Well, it could look crazier. I have all those small succulents stashed on a bench. And, you know, it's not forever. Yeah, what can I say? I'm not well adjusted. Well, now the greenhouse looks like a greenhouse. So, fingers crossed, this remay covering all the plants in the middle will help. I did go ahead and just take off all the pieces of the wall, brought them in, since these tables are open, and 15 degrees isn't gonna kill these, it's just gonna give them some damage, but coming into the greenhouse where frost won't really be touching their leaves, they should be fine, because these are cool season vegetables. It's just I don't want to waste them because like the kohlrabies are starting. Actually, here's a better example. And the broccoli are recovering from all the deer damage, and it just seems silly to waste what I've been trying to salvage. And we did bring in all the other cold hardy pots just because I think it's more the snapdragons, the pansies, the violas, those will get severely damaged from temperatures in the teens. And it's a good thing we're not entertaining in here this weekend, because it doesn't look like an entertainment space anymore. It looks like a greenhouse.
It'd have to be plant people.
Yeah. So David, I want you to show everybody what you're doing.
Okay.
Because I don't really understand this, but I know it's super important.
All right, so we don't have any heat trace on the plumbing in the greenhouse, so the plumbing can freeze, the lines can freeze, and they can burst. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go outside and isolate the water coming into the greenhouse, and then I'm going to open up one of the valves. I'm going to hit it with some compressed air, and I'll flush all the lines out so there'll be no water in the lines for it to expand and break. And over at the old greenhouse, we have some heat trace on the lines, and I can show you what that is. All right, so we have a hydrant out here, and this hydrant has freeze protection in it because when you close it, it actually drains down to the base. So you don't have any standing water in this line. So our isolation for the greenhouse is below ground, and it goes right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and isolate the water going into the greenhouse, and then I'm gonna blow out the lines.
It's really good that you're doing this on video so I can learn. Because I actually have no idea about any of this.
Yeah, it's not that complicated. You just gotta do it once. So I've got a small air compressor. I'm gonna fire it up, build up a little bit of air pressure. I'm gonna open up this valve, and I'm gonna blow everything out through the sink. And remember, the sink has 2 lines going in it, so I'm gonna have to take from hot and to cold. Even though there's no hot water out here, we have both lines hooked up. We'll plug this in real quick. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up this line. Alright, that spigot's open. And I'll make sure the sink's on. And I'll create, got this air valve right here. And I'm just gonna use my hand to help create a seal. And it'll just push air in the line and blow it all out the sink. That's how we blow out the sink. Get all the lines clear of water. The lines are insulated coming into the greenhouse, so that'll help around 30, but we're gonna get down into the teens, so we wanna just go ahead and blow them out. All right, so I mentioned heat trace, and a lot of y'all probably aren't familiar with that. And all heat trace is it's an electrical circuit. There's a little thermometer here, plugs in, and then it's lining the pipe underneath my insulation, and it generates heat. The thermometer will kick on at freezing, and then it'll create heat in the electrical lines, and it'll keep the pipes from freezing. So if you have some spots that it's difficult to blow out, so I can only blow this down to here. I should probably put a drain underground, but I haven't done that yet, and this has worked for years. The only problem you will run into with this is if you lose electricity. So on the same circuit, I have a light that comes on, so it'll stay on. At night, I'll be able to tell if the circuit's still running or if the GFCI is tripped. I can go over and address it if the light goes out.
And we've had this explode before, so this is why you put it on.
Yeah, I have tried and failed with insulation, but this has been pretty handy.
On a completely unrelated note, I just want to show that I bought this Daphne from Bell's Seed Store in Fayetteville 2 years ago. 2 years ago. It's still in the pot that I bought it in, and it's still alive. See? And this is actually one that was selected by the J.C. Ralston Arboretum. But if I plant it, it will die. I'm convinced of that, because every other Daphne that I have planted has died. So this is kind of a funny experiment. I don't even really use this facility anymore, and we've talked about tearing it down and turning this into a parking space. But I just wanted to show you this Daphne that's budded up. It's going to be beautiful. And it's totally cold hardy. I don't need to worry about bringing it in. Just going to not touch it.
Hey everybody. So got to talk about your hose bibs on the house. Your modern hose bibs have freeze protection in it. So if you were to take this out, this valve would probably actually be more like a foot long, and the valve's actually under the house. So the water around that, when it starts to freeze, there's a little check ball underneath here. And if you have a hose hooked up to it, it won't function as it's designed. And then that water will stay trapped in the line, and then you could have damage to your hose bibs. So we always recommend unhooking your hoses from your hose bib when it's about to freeze.
And because we're standing here, we've got the fabulous sprinkler that you're gonna do a class on teaching everybody how to make these, and you'll go home with one. But you notice that I have it on a downward angle so that no water is trapped inside, because we've had water in these before and they've exploded.
That's right. The original design had a little kick up here and it would keep water trapped. So we went ahead and removed that, and it doesn't do that anymore.
So there you go.
There you go.
So there is some freeze protection 101 from North Carolinians who don't deal with cold very frequently.
Just every once in a while.
And here was one that I couldn't get the hose to unhook from because I'm not strong enough.
I put it on too tight.
Yes. And look at all that water coming out. And if we hadn't done that, it probably would have exploded tomorrow night.
It absolutely would have.
And these are the best sprinklers because you can pull them and drag them like a sled. So if you're like me and you don't have irrigation, this is how you water in the summer. These are really, really handy. But that's a lot of water. And actually the water being in the base like that is what keeps it sturdy, so they don't fall over like a tripod sprinkler does.
That's right.
But winter protection is pretty critical. Well, everybody, I hope this video on prepping for cold will be helpful for you. Maybe you live in a colder climate where 15 degrees sounds ridiculous. Look, I'm from Michigan, okay? I know. It's just that in the South, we don't get to this temperature very regularly. So we have to go to extreme measures to get prepared for it. Anyhow, I'm wishing you guys all the best. Fingers crossed for a sunny and warmer forecast in the future as we head closer to the holidays. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Happy gardening, everybody.